Welcome to the fifth installment of our 12-part Centennial Celebration video series. In all walks of life exist individuals who have blazed new trails not previously taken. Clearly, that happens in high school athletics. Today's program spotlights three pioneers who took paths less traveled and paved the way for those who followed. One such pioneer was Alvis Johnson of Harrodsburg, Kentucky, who not only was the NFHS 35th president in 1994 to 95, he made history as its first African-American president. Growing up in the small community of Hopkinsville, Kentucky, Johnson was an outstanding student athlete at Christian County High School.
I tell everybody the first football game I ever saw, I started in it. It was kind of ironic that, we lived out in the farm and we just didn't we played pick up basketball, but we weren't really involved in football that much. But the first one, the first live game I ever was a part of it, I started in, and so that's the rest is history.
As the years have passed, being chosen the first African-American president has taken on added significance to Johnson.
It probably means more to me today than it did then. So I initially got involved in athletics at the state level. I became a state president and was nominated by staff to the Federation Board and was elected there. And then it was such an honor when the members of the Federation decided to pass the torch to me, and being the first African American was really special, and it is special to me until the day that I was able to play an integral part in moving the Federation and really the country forward as far as the stigma that blacks couldn't do this and blacks couldn't do that. So it was pretty important to me, it really was.
Johnson gained tremendous preparation for the position of president in a number of ways.
I'm very studious, so I attended all the Federation meetings, and I gleaned quite a bit from just being in those meetings and seeing how the organization ran, and made mental notes to myself of how I wanted to do things when I became president.
In addition, NFHS Executive Director Bob Canopy taught Alvis many things.
Bob Canopy was an outstanding administrator, very knowledgeable in athletics, very knowledgeable in academics, and just really very knowledgeable in the world around him. So Bob was quite a joy to work with.
In 1990, Dr. Sandra Scott made history as the nation's first female to lead a state association on a full-time basis when she became executive director of the New York State Public High School Athletic Association. She was hired as an assistant director in 1975.
Well, quite frankly, from the time that I was hired, I was treated always, I guess, like one of the guys, just like all the other women in Section 1. There was no like, you're a second-class citizen or whatever. I think some of the women around the country felt that way. And as I got involved with Federation in those early years, you could see some of that, okay? I was hired in 75, and I became the associate director in 77. That should tell you something. And I started to initiate programs and take a hold of things we hadn't done. You got to remember, by the time I became the executive director, I had worked for them for 15 years.
During her time with the NYSPHSAA, Dr. Scott was responsible for the development of many programs and initiatives.
We had a boys committee and a girls committee for our junior high program. And I initiated bringing the rules together as well as one committee. I think you probably are not aware, and most of the country isn't at this point, but we were that was junior high program, then it took the name modified program, and it's our only program that was approved not only by the Medical Society of New York, but the American Medical Association approved our junior high program, which was really something.
With her experience, Scott felt she was ready for the executive director position.
After that, I felt I had built my credibility, and I wouldn't have gone for the job if I didn't think I could do it. I thought it was probably by 1990 that we were going to see some woman was going to come and be an executive director. And just so happens that I lived in the part of the country, and I would like to think the work that I did made them make that choice.
Another pioneer is North Carolina High School Athletic Association Commissioner Q. Tucker, who is the second African-American woman to lead a state association. While growing up, Tucker participated in six-player basketball.
Well, when I was in high school, the sports that I had the opportunity to play back then were very limited because women just didn't have the opportunity to play many sports. So I only played one sport, which was organized and actually had competition with the other schools, and that was basketball. And back then, when I played basketball, there were 6 females on the court for one team, 6 for the other, and I had the opportunity to be what is known as a rover. So you had 2 who could rove the whole court, and then you had the other 4 who stayed. They were the people who were stationary. They stayed on one end. So they either were, you had 2 on the defensive end and the other 2 on the offensive end, and then you had 2 who were roving.
The opportunity to be the only female African-American leader of a state association was one that Tucker enthusiastically embraced.
I think when I came to the High School Athletic Association, I had no aspiration to be one day the executive director / commissioner. I just wanted to come and work and do the job that Charlie Adams had afforded me or had asked me to do. And I think I did that. Then when the board said we would like to remove the interim title, I did think about just the young women, first of all, the young women who will see me in this role and hopefully aspire to some leadership role, whether it is here at the North Carolina High School Athletic Association, but wherever it is that it could inspire them. And I did think about African American young women of color, is that to see somebody who looks like them has to be an example. And so I couldn't say no either time.
Tucker also pays high compliments to the NFHS.
The National Federation of High Schools in this country has just been such a beacon of I think, hope because of the stance that it has taken, and the leadership down through the years has just been wonderful to help enhance those things that we try to do at the state level. And I'm just really appreciative of the things that the Federation stands for and the leadership that continues to be offered to us who are at the state level. And I think the future is bright for the Federation, even as it's bright for state associations.